So, Charley, we're going from talking about the war within to healing war consciousness. And you talk about kind of three levels or a few different levels of power over versus power with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the levels that I see are, the first level is the level of fighting against, the level of war. And that level is the level of conventional medicine, where disease is our enemy, and we have a war against cancer and a war against heart disease. And the next level, I would say, is more like naturopathic medicine. Naturopathic medicine is where we interpret disease as being a messenger to us about our behavior, and that it is asking us to change our behavior. And so we're not fighting disease, we're trying to change our behavior. But what happens for many people is that their behavior, they discover that they are conflicted in their behavior, and that they have things that they do that are harmful to them and create disease, and they then fight against their own selves and make themselves an enemy.
So an example of that,
Just a second.
Okay.
So before that, the work then of self-healing is the evolution from a war consciousness to an even greater level of friendship and love toward ourselves. And it is the evolution into befriending ourselves and our behavior. And as we see here in the war within, both sides of ourselves, both of the opposing sides, and what we would tend to think of as an enemy, we love. Like Jesus said, we love our enemy, and in so doing, come to have a power with rather than a power against.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. That's definitely, I think, a newer level of consciousness, especially around medicine.
Exactly.
And it makes a huge difference. I know after going through cancer myself, that there was even a sense within me that if my body was something you call cancering, if that's my body, producing these cells, why would I fight against my body? And luckily I was able to heal a late stage form of cancer by working with and listening to my body and being able to heal instead of fight and ultimately kill myself through that war that could have ensued.
Yes. I admire greatly how you've done that. I know that very well. How you have refused to treat cancer as an enemy and actually integrated it into your life as something, as a painful guide that has come to shape you and bring you a gift and grow you into greater levels of happiness and health. And I so admire your refusal to make your cancer into an enemy.
Yeah, thank you. And you were really a great coach and mentor going through all of my time of treatment and healing. So I'm really so grateful for your guidance.
Yeah, you bet.
Another thing that you talk about in regards to healing that war consciousness is a dialogue between the two parts of the self that want different things.
Mm-hmm. Yes. This is, we move from fighting against to dialogue, and this is what we teach in the course. And the dialogue is composed of listening compassionately, because we come with compassion for the other side and for the part of ourselves that can't govern our eating. And we listen compassionately, and we seek to understand, and we allow this dark part of ourselves that seems to bring such harm, we allow that part of ourselves to speak and to tell us the truth of what she wants and why she wants it and why this means so much to her and why she doesn't want to change. And in that, we understand ourselves, and our understanding in relationship is power with. We become closer as I understand you, right?
So those dialogues are a tool for helping you to gain power or achieve or accomplish power with yourself, as opposed to power over the part of the self that
Yes.
may be inflicting harm.
Yes.
It is a fabulous tool.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me think too about how you often talk about how we feel like there's a part of ourselves that's immune to change.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We seemingly are immune to change, and we resist change. And so the work of healing is respecting and being kind to that part of ourselves and wanting to understand that part of ourselves so that we come into relationship. And because after all, that is the part that seemingly is against us, is us.
Yeah, it's just that other.
And if we're mean to her, it's being mean to ourselves.
Right.
We only injure ourselves more.
Yeah, it makes so much sense, and yet it's been just a way of life for so long.
Yeah, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so the hold-ons, I would love for you to share kind of the whole concept and essence of what a hold-on is, and how that relates to the paradigm of self-healing.
Yeah, that pertains very much to here. And hold-ons are structures that would evolve. You could say from atoms to molecules to cells to tissues and organs into a whole person and into a community and a globe and a universal consciousness, right? And so you couldn't predict that two atoms of sodium and chloride are going to end up tasting like salt when they become a molecule and are together. And you couldn't predict that salt within a body would give rise to, could be shaped into a functioning cell. From any molecules, you could not imagine a cell. And we are at a stage of a consciousness of ourselves and of everything in our world, of our disease, and that has been largely a war consciousness and a fighting against. And we are evolving into a consciousness that can look at ourselves and love ourselves and have compassion for ourselves and thereby bring about power that we are seeking and don't know how to get. We don't know how to heal cancer and how to heal our diseases. And the power by which we do it is the power of kindness and loving ourselves and knowing ourselves. That is including all parts of ourselves and so into this. You have to experience it. And in working with people, I see again and again that when I show people, introduce them to being kind to themselves, everybody says to me, gosh, I don't know why it's so difficult for me to be kind to myself. That's the healing. That's the healing, right? If we can't be kind to ourselves, how do we do kind things for ourselves? And if we don't do kind things for ourselves, how are we going to produce health? Because health is what evolves out of being kind to ourselves. It's the only way it evolves.
And you really do give a lot of tools and
absolutely
things for people to start implementing no matter where they are on the spectrum of being kind.
Yes.
And I think that's just something I want to speak to, that doesn't matter if you're coming in from a place of having a self-practice where you do a lot of self-love. There's still a lot of evolution that you can experience, with your healing, or if you're coming in at a place where you've never even considered self-love or being kind to yourself. The way that you take people through this course and through the 4 behaviors and the 3 universal medicines is a phenomenal recipe for life-changing experience.
It is the way things work. Kindness is the healing power of the universe. It is vis medicatrix naturae. And you talk about practical tools. Yes, absolutely practical tools. We are dealing with trying to change illness, which comes down to trying to change our behavior. And the practicality of changing our behavior is by being kind to ourselves. And so that kindness can be manifested in our breath, in our posture, in the pace by which we go through life, by leaving a bite of food on our plate, by myriad ways that, as you say, well, gosh, what's that got to do with healing cancer? It is everything. It is everything. It is miraculous. And when we do it, we experience the transformational healing power of kindness.
That's great, Charlie. Well, thank you for kind of going over with us the healing, the war consciousness, and the value of doing this work.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Carl.